what's up, programs? Welcome to The Grid, episode 130 of the Patreon exclusive show for the Oblivion Bar, a nerd culture podcast. I am Chris Hacker, one of your co-hosts here, and joining me this week is my BFF, also wearing baby blue, as I am as well.
That's my baby blue boy right
That's
there.
my baby boy.
My baby boy and his baby blue.
Bubba.
Looking like a baby back bitch.
I'm trying to think what Forrest Gump says to Bubba. I gotta find my friend Bubba.
I gotta find Bubba.
Welcome everybody back to The Grid, episode 130. This week we are releasing this to the normal folk, Aaron. Everyone's getting a little taster of The Grid.
What I like to call an appetizer.
Yeah, little skosh, little shot, we'll say.
Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I was gonna try to find it, but I couldn't. Here's the thing: we have
We don't have a lot of time.
We don't have time. We've got to get a lot of things through. We got to get through a lot of things before we get to the end of this episode. So, firstly, welcome everybody to The Grid. This is our weekly bonus podcast. Every single Friday, I almost said Monday. Monday is our normal episode. Friday, we release a bonus 30 to 45 minute long episode of Aaron and I just sort of no format.
Who knows how
We don't
long
even
it's
know.
going to take?
We honestly, we would have had no idea what this episode was going to be had it not been for one of our patrons who recommended a topic to David, who is the official ISO of the Oblivion Bar podcast. So,
David.
Speaking of which, Aaron, do you want to? And again, this is something that we generally do here on The Grid. We give out Patreon exclusive nicknames to our $10 tier members. So if you are a $10 tier member, you will have the right to have a personalized nickname for the show. So, Aaron, if you don't mind, let me just quickly go over the ones we've occurred thus far. We have Travis, who is the official Indiana Jones of the Oblivion Bar podcast. We have Christy, which is my mom, the official Mama Bear of the Oblivion Bar podcast. Kyle, the official Gipper. We have Robert, the official Nuke Dealer. Shout out to the guy getting everybody hooked on old Nuke. That's RoboCop, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We've got George, the official wedding singer of the Oblivion Bar podcast. We've got Losi, the official selfless Swiftie.
Yes.
She loves Taylor Swift.
She loves her some T Swift, some
Yep.
T Swizzle, and she also is a very selfless, amazing person.
That's correct. Yeah. We are pro Taylor Swift on the show, are we not?
Absolutely. Even though she's not going to be appearing in the, it's been confirmed she's not going to be in Deadpool.
I'm waiting.
Wolverine.
I'm still gonna wait
But,
until
yeah.
we get it, until we're physically watching the film and the credits are ending. That's
Worst
when
case scenario, there's going to be like a headshot of her in there or something. They're
I
gonna,
wouldn't be
show,
surprised if a song of hers is in the movie somehow.
Yeah.
That would be sort of my guess thus far. But anyway, again, David, shout out to David giving us our topic, which we'll go over here in just a moment, is the official ISO of the Oblivion War podcast. He fights for the user. We've got Nerf Alice as the official Batlin Brit. She's across the pond. We've got a couple across the ponders here on the Patreon. Shout out to our international listeners.
International programs.
Yeah, exactly. The Oblivion Bar has gone international. We've got Miles, who actually lives in Indianapolis. He lives in the same city as I do. So, and he's the official Iron Hokage of the Oblivion Bar podcast. We've got Mac. Speaking of our international folks, we've got Mac is the official Kakapo of the Oblivion Bar podcast. He is
fucking cute little animal. Not
little-
Mac.
Right. Well,
Mac's adorable.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, and his accent dreamy.
Yeah,
Dreamy.
we love that New Zealand accent.
He sent me a message.
Good day,
me.
mate. What? That's Australian. What do he say to you?
He told me that I nailed it with the David Pepose interview.
It's David Pepose. Pepose is not how you pronounce it, my friend. If you guys are watching the video version, because we are going to put a video version up of this conversation, Aaron was giving me a glare there. So I know that didn't really come across in the audio format, but that side definitely did. So
You can definitely fuck off.
you can fuck off.
Fuck off. Pepose?
Great conversation, by the way, Aaron. Good job on that again.
That's what Mac said.
Well, Mac, I love you, but you're wrong. It's Pepos.
No. He's...
Oh, he said that it was a good conversation.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. I agree.
He said I nailed it.
Yeah, you did. It was a fun conversation. I'm glad, and it's doing well. It already has more than our average downloads, so I think people are really enjoying it.
Yes.
We've got Ham6, the official red leader of the OBP.
Come in, Red Leader.
Breaker 9, this is Rubber Ducky. Do you copy?
You don't have to say every
You don't
time
have
you do that.
It already does it.
Over.
Over. Alrighty.
Stupid.
This week we're giving out our nickname to a good friend of the show. Actually, without this gentleman, we would not have our
that
partnership. He's got that good.
Good.
We would not have our partnership with Omnibus, who is our favorite sponsor of the Oblivion Bar podcast. Kenny Myers is getting his official nickname on the podcast. Now, I will say Kenny has officially been a $10 member since March of this year. However, he was a Patreon member basically all of last year and then sort of left for a bit and then came back. So shout out to Kenny for supporting the show. He's always been not only a great supporter here on Patreon and not only with Omnibus, again, getting us in and meeting Travis and gaining that partnership, but also a dedicated listener. He will often send me a message and be like, hey, really enjoyed this conversation. He's even sent out, gifts while I was going through chemo. So Kenny, an incredible friend of the show, great supporter, just a good member of the community. So, Aaron, what are your thoughts here for old Kenny? We had a great
I want to call him the good.
That good, the good.
That good.
Okay, that's the default. I will say we had a great kind of hangout sesh with him and Travis at San Diego Comic-Con last year. And I think during that sort of meeting, this is our first time meeting them, you and Kenny immediately gravitated towards each other, right? You guys were, it's basically like we segregated off into our own groups, and Travis and I talked, and you and Kenny talked.
Travis and you are very
analytical,
in sync, very logical, very similar.
Yeah.
And Kenny and I are very much
just happy to be here.
Happy to be a part of the team.
Yeah, just here to help. Whatever you need. But if you don't tell me, I'm going to be sorting some cards over in the corner or organizing
probably
my
messing
comics.
Around with something on desks. On my desks.
Cleaning something or just like a fidget spinner. We don't even know, honestly. But Kenny is great. So I was going to recommend. He's obviously an extremely talented coder. That was his role at Omnibus for a bit. I wanted to give him like a hackers sort of themed nickname. So you've got what's his name? Matthew Lillard is in that movie. Remember, he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to necessarily call him serial killer. We've got Zero Cool, Acid Bum, Lord Nikon, the Phantom Break, but it's Phreak, and the Plague. Those are a couple of nicknames for him.
The Plague.
Young Dade. I would actually love to call Kenny the Young Dade. That good or Young Dade?
Oh man. You know what's funny is I think of whenever I think of hackers.
Oh, that's Freak. What am I saying? That was Phantom Freak. God.
Phantom Freak.
Anyway.
I think of that, but I also think of. Did you ever watch Kung Fury?
Of course. Would you like some? Would you like some snacks? Or a
Hacker
carbonated
Man?
Soda?
No, not Kung.
Oh, that's Kung Fury from Netflix. I'm sorry, I was thinking of Kung Pao, right?
You're thinking Kung Pao. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Carbonated soda.
My nipples look like milk duds.
My nipples look like it's a different. Kung
different movie,
Fury
Chris.
and it had the guy who was like his name was Hacker Man, and he had like a mullet, and he had the power glove.
Yeah,
so,
very much our style, right? Very late '80s synthy.
Yeah, very retro synth arcade cabinet.
Okay. I like Hacker Man too. I mean, obviously I'm biased, Chris Hacker, but I like Hacker Man just in general. What do you think?
Oh man,
I'm kind of softing on the Phantom Freak as well.
Ooh, hold on. Let's call him the Code Junkie.
Code Junkie?
Our official Code Junkie.
Why don't we leave it up to Kenny? I know he's gonna be listening.
Okay.
So let's pick two. Let's see which two that we like the most. So we can put in Code Junkie. So Code Junkie is one for sure.
Because it sounds like Code Monkey, but Code Junkie.
All right, yeah.
Or would you call him Phantom Freak?
Phantom Freak with a PH.
Yeah.
All right.
Like Code Freak or something.
Yeah. All right. I'll have those two down, and then Kenny, I know you're listening at some point. Let us know which one you prefer. So
Captain Code.
I like that one too. All right. Any of those, let us know which one you like best. But again, shout out to all of our $10 members. Our highest tier, that's the gold star tier. Pretty sure that's a Mario reference there.
Yeah.
So, but also just thank you to all of our patrons in general. Obviously, you're keeping the lights on and helping us make the show better. So we appreciate you. But moving on to our main topic, which again, one of our patrons recommended, and this is actually a tier perk. So after 6 months of consecutive patronage of being a program, being inside of the grid,
being our Patronus.
Yeah, you get to pick a topic on the grid. So David, this was his pick. He actually messaged us on Instagram and asked if we could cover all of our favorite original art that we own. And me being the person that I am, I got it all out. Yes. I have all of it here next to me. So we're just going to go through all of it. And Aaron has a couple.
Yeah. Full transparency of this show, David. You obviously peeked behind the curtain somehow at some point and knew that you were just revealing this big side that Chris has. He literally has an entire room to 2 rooms in his home of just art.
Yes. Yeah.
And majority of it is original.
Yeah. It's all from cons and different times of meeting creators and whatnot. Excuse me. He actually sent a couple photos of some originals that he had from David Mack and Alex Maleev, and unfortunately they went away in our chat. Instagram does that where it kind of goes away after a bit, but they were very cool. So thank you for sharing that, David. We appreciate it, and we will go through everything now. So Aaron, do you want me to start or do you want to start us off?
I absolutely want you to start because this is going to be a very Chris-centric grid episode, because I have mostly like collectibles. I have obscurities.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this while Chris gets his first selections together. I have mostly obscurities, collectibles, things that I've kind of collected over the years. I can actually take out, if we wanted to go through an Aaron-centric episode of collection, you just be like, hey, how about have an episode on Aaron's weird shit? That would be
Aaron's weird shit. Yeah.
Aaron's weird shit. I have my little, I don't know if Chris, if this is something you have, I have a lockbox of all my treasures, things that I've my trinkets, things that I've collected over the years.
These are my valuables. Leave them alone.
Yeah. These are my precious. So if you ever wanted to see that, you got to request that. But that's a very deeply personal / and I would probably reveal it here. Maybe not on a grid episode that was on the live feed, but maybe
the normal folks,
to the regular patrons.
Yeah.
I would definitely consider cracking open that lockbox of secrets, because everybody's got that box where you put our little secrets into.
Yeah.
That's mine, and it's real.
And it's a physical thing.
It's a physical problem.
We often show our underbelly to our patrons. So if you really want an inside look, again, patreon.com/OblivionBarPod. Also, I should say, I am going to put up the video version of this as well. So if you're listening to this on the audio form on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube or wherever, go to our Patreon. I'm going to include the video version for free. So no matter what, episode 130 of The Grid will be for free for everybody. So I guess the first thing that I'll show very quickly is, speaking of a guest, we're talking to Kyle Starks and Ryan Brown tomorrow about Barfly over at Minor Threats. This is my Kyle Starks Dr. Doom. He put out a quick $50 small, I want to say this is a 4x6, I think. 4x6, size Dr. Doom, and he does it on this cool, colorful paper. So really, really like that, and I just love that his commissions. He's a very talented artist. He just doesn't really often charge very much for them. So that's one. I was just going to kind of bulk show a lot of stuff, since obviously I have a lot more things than you. So I have all of my blank covers that aren't graded here. So I've got about, I'd say 8 here. This is Mark Morales. He's a famous inker. He did this Black Panther for me at New York Comic Con in 2017. So really cool of him. And he actually sent this to me, which is really cool. So I have a couple of Liana Kangas, another good friend of the show here. They did both a Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel. This is right around the time where Captain Marvel was out, and I was reading the Ms. Marvel G. Willow Wilson run, so she did this for me. And then also this is an original character from her series She Said Destroy, which, fun fact, this is with Joe Glass as well over at Valve. I think it's what it's called. What's the name of that company, Aaron?
Is it Valiant?
No, not Valiant. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm in issue 2, by the way, for everybody. If you have that series for some reason, check out the middle of issue 2. I'm in the background of that comic. So
must be nice.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. All right, here's another pretty cool thing. So
I love this one.
This is my official. This is one of the coolest things I own personally. This is my original Trad Moore Silver Surfer Black. This is on Silver Surfer Black #1 blank cover, so from 2019. I got this through Felix Comic Art. He did a small small commission list. Like I would say less than 20 people got one of these. The funny story about this, because it's very, you know, it's very Tradd Moore-esque. So I went to a Absolute Carnage, what was it, like a panel with Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman at C2E2 in 2020. And funny enough, CSA, who we now work for, was running that whole situation. And when I tell you the story, you're going to laugh, Aaron, that it was so mismanaged and the panel took well over an hour. It was supposed to take an hour and then there was going to be an hour signing. There's probably like 60 people at this panel. And by the time that Donnie and Ryan stopped talking, it had been like 90 minutes and they were late anyway.
Oh, wow.
By the way, surprise, surprise. And whenever they finally got through the panel, they talked for like 30 minutes over. And then by the time that we got to the actual signing, it had been, I mean, we had gone over at least 45 to an hour and they were tired. It was at the very end of the day. It was like 9:30 at night and they were just trying to rush people through. So at one point when I finally got towards the front of the line, I think it was Mike actually, Mike Haslam, one of the owners of CSA, took my books before we knew each other, obviously. And he took all my books and I had this, and I think I had like a Silver Surfer Black trade. So I was going to have I was going to have Donnie sign this. And there was also an Absolute Carnage print that they gave you for being at the panel. So I was going to have Ryan sign that and then have Donnie sign this and the Silver Surfer Black. When I got to the front, when I finally said hi to Donnie and Ryan, I noticed that my Silver Surfer Black, which is of course done by Donny Cates and Tradd Moore, was also signed by Ryan Stegman. Actually, Ryan Stegman's here in silver. You can't really see it as well. But anyway, yeah, Ryan Stegman signed my Tradd Moore original art. Just really funny. Kind of annoyed by it, but it's a funny story. I have the only Silver Surfer signed Ryan Stegman book in existence, I'm pretty sure. So this is one of my favorites, Aaron. I got this at...
I'm going to get him to sign another one just randomly, just so you're not alone.
We're the only two in existence.
Fuck you, Chris.
That's right. This is Marco Santucci, who is an Italian artist. He did this incredible Green Lantern blank cover for me. This is the... why am I spacing her name now? She's from Far Sector. Aaron... Damn it! What am I doing here? Why am I spacing?
I love her character design though. That is her hair. Everything about her is like it's so well. That is an amazing this piece of art though.
$250 for this, and it's incredible. I mean, it doesn't really even do it service. Joe Mullins, of course. What am I doing? Joe Mullins.
Do you mind? I want to ask this, and you don't have to feel free not to answer. But that Tradd Moore commission.
Yeah.
How much was that?
This was $350, which again, for what he did, which I mean, it's Tradd Moore, but like this is not a $350 commission. I knew that outright. Like there was examples of what it was going to look like, and I was just like, it's Tradd Moore. I don't care. Like I will pay any amount to just own an original piece from him.
I think, and not talking ill about your original art there. I'm not a Tradd Moore fan.
That's okay. I get it. He's a very particular taste. He's kind of a challenging artist. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, he's someone that I think I love him so much because he is just so out of the house style. He is just so Tradd Moore, so. Right?
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah.
Very unique style.
And to kind of build on that too, I have his Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise from last year. I don't love it. I don't love the story. Like the art is incredible, obviously, because it's Tradd Moore, but like the story, I just couldn't latch onto it. It's just one of those stories that I couldn't wrap my head around.
Did he write that too?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, people go check that out. Tell me what you think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not gathering it the right way, but to kind of put that in perspective, Tradd Moore again, $350. This Joe Mullins from Marco Santucci, who's an incredible artist. I'm expecting him to really, pick up in the next couple of years. $200 for this.
That is insane. The detail on that is so fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like that's on par with like
a cover,
a Lobos cover.
Yeah, or just a cover in general.
Yeah, just a cover in general. But like Lobos art is like Lobos charges like some exceedingly high prices for his work, but it's worth it because it's so detailed and beautiful. And that's on par with that. And you didn't pay anywhere. You got a great deal on that one.
I mean, well, speaking of deals, so I worked in San Diego Comic-Con 2021. I worked for Daniel Sampier and Dan Slott. That was the two kind of guests that I was taking care of. And Daniel, at the end of the con, he actually gave this to me for free. This is a
Wow.
Doctor Doom on Secret Wars #1, obviously the Hickman Assad Ribic series. But Daniel St. Pierre, of course, working on Wonder Woman now. He also worked on Dark Crisis. I think he was working on Dark Crisis at the time that this was out, that he was working on this. So I was not expecting this. Daniel, easily one of the nicest people in the comic industry, and also one of the most talented. I've said before that I think between him and Dan Mora are sort of the new house style over at DC. They're creating that new house style. So, yeah.
Well, one thing it's funny because I when I tell people stories about original art and commissions, actually one of the stories that I tell isn't even mine. I tell your story, and I'm not sure if you're about to show it, but you've showed it a few times, is your Peach Momoko of Toby and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I love that story because it's like, it is the perfect kind of metaphor or analogy for how artists can go from just being kind of unknown to incredibly wanted and desired, and just like there's no time for anything else. So I don't know if you wanted to tell that story.
Oh, sure. I mean, you're absolutely right, though. It's one of those things where when you go to Artist Alley at any of these conventions, there is just a horde of incredible talent everywhere, just all around you. And the gap between the most popular artist working in comics at the moment, 3-time Eisner winner, making a ton of money, and the guy that's just trying to make it, or the gal that's just trying to make it. The gap between them is so small, and it just takes something. It takes that little
And
something.
sometimes they're right next to each other in Artist Alley.
Yeah, and it's
insane.
That bleeds into this story. So C2E2 2018, my then girlfriend Joy and I were at C2E2 hanging out, and we had just gotten Toby. And we really wanted, we came in, that's actually, speaking of those Liana Kangas covers, that was the con that we met her at as well for the first time. And I got the Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel done. But anyway, we're going down Artist Alley and we're looking around and we're thinking we really want to get something done of Toby. And I think this is around the time where Infinity War had just come out or maybe was about to come out. I can't remember exactly. And we're looking, and we were looking at Babstar. She really wanted to look at Babtar's booth. Of course, Babstar, really popular artist, writer, everything. And then right next to her was this very small Asian woman just sort of sketching away, kind of had art everywhere, original art everywhere on top of her booth, just not looking up, had her mask on. This is before even COVID. This is in 2019 or 2018. So had her mask on, and her husband was behind her, who I thought maybe was just her handler, but regardless, sketching away. And she's looking at Babs and I'm looking at Peach. And I'm like, I really love her style. And Joy's like, yeah, I do too. Let's ask her. So we go, hey, we have this blank cover from the Infinity Gauntlet. We bought this blank cover for like $10 at a booth. Would you mind doing an original of our dog that we just bought? And she's like, absolutely, $50. And I'm like, sold. So we come back. She actually sent us a text, or her handler sent us a text about 6 hours later. It was like, hey, we have your sketch done. Come pick it up whenever. End of the day, we go by, pick it up, take a picture. I mean, this is obviously incredible. $50 for this right here. But again, by Peach Momoko. A year later, she puts out Demon Days and becomes an Eisner-winning cover artist. I mean, I think she won Best Cover Artist for the Eisners that next year at 2019. So just like that, just overnight. And, Aaron, I don't think her commissions are like insane. Like, I think you have to get in a lottery now to get one. But I think the way she sets it up now is she puts out 10 slots for every show. She sends out like a mass email like, hey, if you want a commission, send us your character, right? And then she picks whatever 10 she wants to do. And you just have to be lucky enough to get picked.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing, though, is yes, it may not be crazy expensive to get them, but there's such a small chance that you will actually get them. And then, even if you're at the convention, it is such a small possibility that you'll even get to like be in line. The line won't be cut off.
Yeah.
Or like, it's crazy to like, because again, last San Diego Comic-Con, I had to like schmooze my way into almost every single situation to even consider to get a signature. So
yeah, I mean, you also have to sort of you have to get them quick. Like, you ever see people who when you go to a convention, you see everyone just run towards Artist Alley.
Yep.
It is because they're trying to get to their favorite artist to get on their commission list first.
Oh yeah, you got to line up. You got to line up 15 to 20 minutes. You got to stand there next to their booth, being awkward, waiting for them to sit down, get ready, and it's like awkward for them. It's awkward for you. It's awkward for their handler. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do to get that art.
And when we're behind the scenes, we don't get special treatment. If you go up to like Felix or one of these other dealers and like, hey, I want to get on Daniel Warren Johnson's commission list, they're like, come back at 9. Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
Exactly.
Sorry
yeah.
about you. All right, here's my next one. This is my last blank that I'm going to show. I have this Mr. Miracle Swamp Thing Batman cover.
Holy shit. Okay, if you're not watching this visually, if you can't see this is not a blank.
Yeah,
This is not a
completely
blank.
covered. Yep.
This is insane.
So-
Who did this?
This is actually by my tattoo artist, Corey Hand, out of Savannah, Georgia. So he did my Daft Punk and my Silver Surfer tattoo on my right arm. And I loved his style so much that right around the time where Tom King had just put out Mr. Miracle, I asked him, I was like, hey, would you be willing to do a cover for me? And he said, yeah, absolutely. I think he only charged me like $100 to do this. And it's, of course, it's Batman. It's very Tom King centric because it's Batman, Swamp
Yeah.
Thing, and Mr. Miracle. And it's on the Batman 50, which is the wedding cover of
Yeah.
Batman's run, of Tom King's run. So, yeah.
I wonder if he's done anything else since then.
In terms of comics, I would imagine probably not. That was probably a weird request for him.
Yeah.
But he does do a lot of comic inspired tattoos. He's like kind of known for that. So,
That's pretty cool, man.
well, cool. All right, let's enough about mine. Let's talk about yours now.
Okay, I only have two.
You want to just show
blank
one
covers.
and kind of the story behind it?
Yeah. So, well, can I do two?
Sure. I was just going to try to stretch out what you have there.
I have other things that are not comics,
Okay,
so we
cool.
can talk about those also. But this is honestly like the first commission that I've ever did, and I guarantee just about anybody who is a fan of the show, who's ever followed me on social media, Chris has talked to you, like that my favorite artist is
Mirka.
Mirka Andolfo. Okay, and like the first commission I knew that the first thing that I would ever pay for would be a Mirka like blank sketch,
Yeah.
and like this is.
So we've got
this is Leslie.
Unnatural Blue Blood. What is that? What
Yeah.
issue is that? Number 1?
So this is number 1.
Yep.
Yep. And
9.8
so this is
CGC.
9.6.
Oh,
unfortunately.
9.6. Doesn't matter. It's
But it's
original
okay.
art.
Yeah, it's original art. But yeah, MegaCon 2023, my first, and it's just like it's so adorable. Like
Yeah.
I love this so much, and like honestly, like talking to her, like it's funny because since then, even more since then, like I feel like she and I and her husband David have actually become like friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
we talk, we chat, we message. It's so much fun, and like, but when I first got this sketch cover back from, I almost cried. Like I loved it so much, and like I feel like that's maybe like there's like a special connection when you get like a commission from an artist that you absolutely adore and love. And I don't know, it just obviously it's something apart. Like I will never ever get rid of this.
Yeah. That's going to
You
be
know-
an heirloom.
Yeah. So
You know, it's funny is you're so right. Like when you have that connection with an artist that you love, and they turn out to be great people like Mirka is, and Daviv as well, you know, to get something back from them like that, you know, I'll go through a couple of my actual commissions here in just a moment. It's always a special moment. It is always very much like you're on the verge of having an emotional reaction. I know I always do. Every time that I get something back, I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. So 100%. Did you want to show your other one really quick as well?
yeah, I'll show this other one real quick. So this is one that I bought this one, but it is original art, but I bought this one because like I'd never seen anything like it. I had no idea when I first bought it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But this is the What If #1, The Punisher. And I think it's Prestige.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically this. So this is a it's a Spanish version of the actual book.
Oh,
but
cool.
it's but it's basically it's signed and sketched by John Bernthal. Yeah, and it's actually like incredible work.
So Bernthal sketched that?
Yeah,
Is that what that says?
yeah. So this is signed and sketched by John Bernthal. Name and sketch written on cover and marker. Oh, excuse me, not Spanish. It's the Turkish edition, sketch edition, partial blank cover.
That is wild. John Bernthal
Yeah.
drew that?
Yeah. And so I come to find out like John Bernthal is actually a pretty good artist because I've actually seen only one other book that he has done a remark on of himself.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna look this up
Yeah.
because I did not know. Because John Bernthal is kind of he's a guy's guy. You know, he's like, hey, I don't take naps because I'm a fucking man. You know,
Yeah.
I eat my eggs raw, like that kind of guy. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, like what his art looks like. So he's been on talk shows. Wow. So he has done some pretty cool stuff. Wow, that's incredible. I recommend everybody look that up if you haven't seen John Bernthal's
Yeah.
art. He's really good, actually. So yeah, there's that. Aaron's putting in the camera there. So glad to see that he's back in the MCU too. I know he's going to show up in Daredevil, and I'm sure he'll show up in some other thing down the road. So, speaking of Mirka, I wanted to show off really quick. This is one of my newest additions. Aaron's extremely jealous of this, but I love it.
I'm going to punch you the next time I see you.
I worked for Mirka. I was at her booth. It was her, Brian Azzarello, and Stephanie Phillips for C2E2 this year. And at the last day on Sunday, I show up to the booth, and Mirka and her husband, Daviv, are always first there, like one of the very first artists that are there, because she's usually working on commissions and things that she signed up for throughout the week.
That is never capped.
No.
Her
Whatever you
commission
want,
list is
she will
never
get it done.
Capped.
She's a fucking robot. If you've never seen Mirka work like on like the commission that Aaron has, it's beautiful. Probably took her like 40 minutes, at least, like barely, maybe. But anyway, I show up to the booth, and she goes, she's a very Italian. She's like, "Hey, how are you? Here's this." And she hands it to me, and I'm like, "Oh, thanks so much." And I thought maybe she signed it. And I look on the inside, and I'm just going to show that in the camera here. She drew basically a self-portrait of me with me wearing a Power Ranger shirt, because I told her earlier in the weekend that Aaron, you and I were going to interview Amy Jo Johnson. And she says to Chris, and signed it. And then on the bottom, C2E2 Chicago. So pretty incredible stuff. I don't know why she did this for me. I mean, when you work these booths, you always try to do a good job, right? And you want to make sure that they're taken care of. And I think more so than most, and I think most of the artists usually can tell, but I think more so than most, Mirka and Daviv definitely know how shit should be run. And when you do a good job for them, they will take care of you in one way or another. So
yeah, because they run the CSA Comic Sketch Art European division.
Yeah.
And so they know, like, when somebody's being taken care of, they take care of their people.
100%. Yeah. All right. Do you want to show another cool thing?
Sure. The other thing that I was going to bring out.
This episode is going to easily be an hour, by the way, everybody.
My wife asked me, she's like, "How long is this going to take?" I was like, 30 minutes.
We're already there. We're at 32 minutes.
Yeah. So this is something I actually got in Chicago at C2E2.
Yeah.
And this is something that is not really like, okay. So this is
okay. Just show it before you started talking.
Yeah. Well, I want to explain. I want to show it. So this is. I went to Patrick Horvath's booth because I wanted to get my book signed, and I wish actually that's something I should have thought about showing was
Good
because I got this really cool. So there's an artist who did a Where the Wild Things Are cover for Beneath the Trees.
Yeah.
Okay. And they had signed it. There was a guy there, so they weren't for sale yet. There was a guy at the booth, and he's there because the artist who made the cover signed it, and he's there to get Patrick to sign those books also, so they can go and sell them on like Whatnot or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, how much are they?" And he goes, I think like $20."
Wow.
So I'm pretty sure he wasn't supposed to sell it for $20, but I got a double sign. The artist and Patrick's both signed this book, and I got this like exclusive, like this own exclusive Where the Wild Things Are cover.
This is Kyle Willis is the name of the artist.
Kyle Willis. So he signed it, and then Patrick signed it, and I got it $20. That was it. It was amazing. But then I see next to Patrick, he's got this small stack of these, what looks like graded.
Trading cards.
Trading cards, and they're basically it's spot foiled, and it is like the blood is spot foiled as well, if you can see.
Yeah.
And it's the cover where the bear is dragging
issue 1. Yep.
Issue 1, and so he signed it on it, and then it's a mint 9. It's got a number. I think he said there's only like 100 of them made. He's gonna do one final set for each cover that was released.
Very cool. Yeah.
So if you don't get these, then you don't ever get them. And I'm like, I was like, I have to get one. And it's so cool because like on the back again, it's got and it's spot foiled on the back as well.
What's the grading company? Is it anyone that we know, or?
I don't think so. It just says verified 9, and it's got like a QR code on it. Yeah, I think the company's actually is called Verified. I think it's called Verified. Designed by Shield Preserve Greatness. Yeah, Verified Grading LLC out of Texas.
Nice.
So I feel pretty lucky that maybe I'm one of the only people that's gotten like something like this.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, this is going to be something that I'm going to hang on to for a long time.
If you want Aaron to impulse buy one of your products, make something into a trading card, because he will buy it.
That's true. That's why I'm sitting next to a booster box right here of Rocketeer trading cards. All
right, I'm going to show something else that was a surprise. So again, New York Comic Con 2023 23, was it 23, Aaron? We went to breakfast with Christian Ward at New York
Yes.
Comic Con, and this is the first time we had seen him all weekend. He shows up and he has this Mixed Fables Art of Christian Ward Volume 3. This is one of his art books. He's actually about to put out his fourth art book through Zoop. So be on the lookout for that, Aaron. He's also wanting to come on the show to talk about that. So be on the lookout. I'm sure we'll have him on here soon.
I'm going to say no.
Well, I'm going to say yes. So he's got a 50-50 chance of getting on.
Okay. Flip a coin, Christian.
That's right. Well, so he hands this to me and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I of course I wanted it, but like I'm looking at it, I'm going through it and I skip past the first page. He's like, you should look in the front page. As I look on the front page, there's this, which is another Doctor Doom sketch, that's not the first Doctor Doom, or not the last Doctor Doom Christian Ward that you'll see, but he said that to me there. It's the number 0 of 100. And then it says, for Chris, thank you for all your support, Christian. So very cool. That was one of the cooler things that Christian has done. And he has a laundry list of cool things he's done for us. So I'm going to go and go through a couple here since I'm going to go through my signed books that I have something on it. So this is my Joelle Jones Lady Killer oversized hardcover. I brought this to Joelle Jones at New York Comic Con 2021. And I just put it, I was like, I'm a big fan of your work, Joelle. Thanks so much. And she did a little thing in there. So she
oh, wow.
She did that and then signed it as well. So very cool stuff.
This is going to be like a stupid question.
Sure.
The Many Deaths of Layla Starr.
Yep. That's Ram V.
Who was Ram V?
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm trying
there was
hold on. I'm actually going to look.
Wasn't there so maybe I'm thinking of another one, but there was another. Who did we get signed? Who did we like stand in line for to get signed at 2023 San Diego Comic-Con? Small little female. She was like towards the front of Artist Alley. You remember?
Zoe Thorogood.
Zoe Thorogood. That's who it was.
Yeah.
I knew it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Cool.
was for my. I brought a couple trades to her, like Rain and a couple of things, but yeah. So yeah, the Mini Death of Live Star was Ram V and Felipe Andrade. So
Okay.
who also did Rare Flavors. Sorry, my brain's not working tonight, guys. But yeah, that's really good. Anyway, speak of another surprise, I brought my Rorschach hardcover to Jorge Fornes. This is, of course, the Tom King Jorge Fornes miniseries that Tom King has famously said that DC agreed to, if he did this series for them, for Black Label, they would let him do Heroes in Crisis. So, and this is significantly better than Heroes in Crisis. So it's just funny that this is something that he was made to do, and it's better compared to the thing that he wanted to do, which is fine, I guess. Anyway,
there was another book. There was a book that I like. What? I think it was a hardcover. Was it San Diego?
are you thinking of another thing that you got signed for me?
Yeah.
Because if you hold on a second, it'll come. It'll eventually come
Okay.
up. I've got it.
Okay.
I've got it in the pile here. But yeah. So anyway, Rorschach. This is the hardcover, and on the inside, when I handed it to Jorge Fornes, he was like taking a bit, and I was working. Sorry, I showed it too early. He was like, he was working and he was signing things. So I dropped it off. I just told the handler, who I think it might have been Melissa at the time for CSA. I was like, hey, just have him sign it whenever. So, time goes by. At the end of the day, I go by. I'm like, hey, did Jorge sign that book? And when I got back, he did a little Rorschach in there, which is incredible.
It is incredible looking. That is
one of my favorite
it's
remarks
so
I've ever
cool.
gotten. Yeah. For
Yeah.
Sure. So, and it says Herm, the famous Rorschach, SFX. So,
Yeah.
But speaking of the thing that you're talking about, so at San Diego Comic-Con 2022,
That's what it was, yeah.
right? Was it San Diego or New York? I think it was San Diego, right? San Diego.
Yes.
San Diego 23, because you didn't work 22.
23. Yep.
Yeah, 23. So San Diego 23. I'm extremely busy because I'm running around doing whatnot stuff. Aaron's working the booth, so I'm like, hey, if you have a moment, can you please go get this signed by Jeff Lemire? He has a signing at the Dark Horse booth, right? Was it Dark Horse or can't remember?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Dark Horse.
Yep. I think it was like a Black Hammer signing or something. Anyway, I'm like, hey, I have this book. Could you please get my question? This is the Deaths of Vic Sage by him and Dennis Cohen. Please get him to sign this. And when you brought it back, you were so excited. And I think I had just gotten out of a Whatnot show. My brain was fried. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what do you want? And you hand it to me, and you're like, dude, check this out. And when you open it up, Jeff Lemire did like a little doodle on there of Vic Sage to Chris, and then it has his long signature on it, which is super cool. So definitely one of the coolest original, remarks that I have. And of course, thank you, Aaron, for that. So
I love when they do, like, they have to do it kind of quick because obviously there's like usually like a huge line.
Yeah.
And I love what it's kind of fun just to see what they're capable of in like a quick setting.
Oh yeah, and that's like just a kind of a quick, fun fact or a little advice. If you ever want the chance at getting a quick signature or a quick remark, bring a hardcover. That's when the artist, they know that you've already spent the money, you've already bought their product. Like, they will, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it in that, right? Speaking of which, so I have a couple here from Tom King and Mitch Gerads. So first up, I have Strange Adventures, the hardcover by Tom King, Mitch Gerads, and Doc Shaner. On the inside, Tom signed it, and then Mitch did a little Mr. Terrific, which is funny because if you talk to Mitch about it now, he said he absolutely hated drawing Mr. Terrific, and now it's one of his remarks.
I need to read that because I keep seeing it, and like I think I the last time I encountered was it what is the character's name?
Oh, you're talking about in the book?
No, yeah, well, the character on the cover, Strange.
Yeah. So why am I spacing? See, I told you my brain's fried. But it's,
well, no, who's on the cover?
Oh, Adam Strange.
Adam Strange.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so like he was in Superman Lost.
Yes.
And I'm just like, this is a cool looking character. He reminds me very much of the Rocketeer. So I kind of want to read his book.
Well, what's really interesting about this is that half the book is done by Doc Shaner and half the book is done by Mitch Gerads. And the Mitch Gerads part is back on his home planet, which is Rann. And this is basically an allegory for war. Like, what happens to a soldier when he comes home? And the Doc Shaner sort of glowy 1950s golden age stuff is when he's back, in America. And then when it's looking at sort of the darker parts of his life. So like, for instance, and it'll just switch seamlessly. So like, here's him with Mitch Gerads. And then if you go to like the more flowy, let's see here. So like at one point he encounters Superman and it's like much more glowy, sort of hopeful, colorful. So it's really cool. And like at one point he has a signing and he's like, it just shows sort of the monotony of what people consider heroes. It's obviously talking about a lot of things. That's what Tom King does.
Yeah.
So
I'm about to check that out. That sounds cool.
yeah, you would like that, I think. And, speaking of Tom King and Mitch Gerads, Mr. Miracle hardcover. This was, I think, San Diego 2022. I gave this to Tom and Mitch, and they did a little Mr. Miracle. And then Mitch included Hack Attack on the top. So that's pretty cool.
I finally found that Target exclusive Batman, The Brave and the Bold,
I know, I need
the winning
one of those.
card.
Yeah.
I'm always on the lookout. If I see one, I'll get one for you. But
Please.
That's one that I want to take to a convention and get them to sign because that's such an incredible story.
I guarantee they'll do something. Like Mitch will do something in there. So he might, and Tom might even do it too. But one of my new favorite things is to take. So there are 3 anthology series that have come out here recently. You've got Batman, black and white. You've got Superman, red and blue, and you've got Wonder Woman, gold and black. I've been taking Superman and Batman to conventions, and anytime there's a creator at the show, I will have them sign it. And I want to try to get every creator that was involved in these 2 anthologies. And with Batman Black and White, I currently have Daniel Warren Johnson, Lee Weeks, and Mitch Gerads and Tom King. And each of the artists, I don't know if this is like a thing that they decide internally or what, but Mitch did an incredible Batman in here. You've got Lee Weeks here, and then Daniel Warren Johnson right here.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So. And I don't think there's any on the outside. So
speaking of that, and I'm sure you're gonna bring it up. I don't mean to spoil anything, but are you gonna show off the Superman?
Oh yes, I guess I could. I'll make that last because it's on the bottom of this pile. I wasn't gonna bring it up because it's just a lot to take out, but I definitely will. So this will be the last thing, and then we can go on to what you have, Aaron, because the rest of the stuff I have is pretty big. So I've got my Murder Falcon hardcover. Of course, Daniel Warren Johnson. This is one of my favorite Daniel Warren Johnson works of all time. Aaron's got his Murder Falcon. Is that number 1?
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. I like that cover too.
Yeah, I randomly came across. It's funny that you bring up that. I randomly came across this, and I was like, this is one of the hardest things. I'm like, do I fucking buy this? Mm-hmm. Do I buy this? But then if you look at it, it's like it's like a Falcon motorcycle with saw blades and he's just rocking through the sky. I'm getting ready to read this because I haven't read it yet.
Oh gosh.
But this cover, I got this and I got Extremity. So I'm super excited. But this is just the most metal fucking cover I've ever seen.
Yeah, this book is going to destroy you, by the way. I read that, so I reread it when it first came out in singles. Really liked it. I think it's one of the very first things I ever read by Daniel Warren Johnson. And then San Diego 2023. Aaron, remember that's the first show that I was back post cancer.
Yeah.
Or going into chemo at least. And this, of course, I won't spoil anything, but there's some elements of cancer in this. And it fucking wrecked me. I'm like reading on the plane and crying my eyes out. So anyway, I have the hardcover here, and Daniel Warren Johnson not only gave me a book plate for it. Sorry, I'm trying to see. So he gave me a book plate here that's signed, but he also drew a giant murder falcon in there as well, which is what he generally does for these hardcovers. So what's a big bummer is that what I've been seeing online from like Felix and Daniel himself is that people will get these because Daniel doesn't charge for those. He will just do that for free. Most of these artists will. They'll just kind of inherently sign it and do a little doodle in it for you. People will immediately get those and then put them up on eBay for like $200. It's like, come on, man.
Damn.
Just don't even. Why? You're ruining it for everybody. Daniel will stop doing this if you keep doing stuff like that. So PSA for everybody out there, if you get something signed, if like an artist goes out of their way to do something nice for you inside of your book, don't be a fucking turd and flip it online immediately. Like, come on. Just anyway, speaking of Daniel Warren Johnson, this is where I'm going to start getting into my like actual original art, like my commissions and such. This is from New York Comic Con 2021. This is my Daniel Warren Johnson Future Trunks. This was
badass.
$300. This was pre Do a Powerbomb. I think it was it was pre Do a Powerbomb for sure. Pre Beta Ray Bill even, I think. So I remember when I got it. So speaking of like running up to an artist and like just trying to get on their commission list as quickly as possible, that's exactly what I did for Daniel Warren Johnson at that show. And when I got to the front of I was the first one there. And he's like, "Hey man, what's going on? What do you want to get for your commission?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't think about this." Like, I was so worried about getting on the list that I didn't think about what I wanted. And this is around the time where Dragon Ball Superhero was about to come out, and all of their, fanfare and banners were everywhere. And I saw Future Trunks, like in the corner of the artist alley. So like, I'll just do Future Trunks. He's my favorite character in the Dragon Ball Z universe, so he did it and absolutely killed it. I think I'm the only one that owns a Dragon Ball. Well, it's definitely a Trunks Daniel Warren Johnson commission.
I wonder how much something like that would cost now.
I don't know for sure, but I would imagine to be closer to $500, $500 or $600. So
you know what that reminds me of? For some reason, all of a sudden it's like jumping into my brain. Is I just recently picked up a Jurassic League hardcover.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm realizing now that I've been wanting to buy a Do a Powerbomb hardcover, and I don't know if there is one.
Nope. There's currently just trades for now.
Man.
I would imagine, so I don't know if you saw, but Extremity got like an artist edition through Image, through Kickstarter. I think that Daniel Warren Johnson is going to probably keep doing that. He's going to keep, I think Extremity was the tryout, because Extremity, I think of all of his stuff, like Murder Falcon, Do a Powerbomb, Beta Ray Bill, Wonder Woman, Transformers, all the stuff he's done. I would say Extremity might be the least popular of all his stuff, only because it was one of the very first things he did. So I think that was the trial. I think they're going to do something bigger next time. Probably Do a Powerbomb. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Can I show you something cool that I just recently got?
Yeah.
And I'm like super pumped about. So I got this Matrix variant of Batman. So Detective Comics number 40. Mm-hmm. So it's a Brian Stelfreeze Matrix movie cover variant.
Nice.
And yeah, it's super badass.
That's some corporate synergy shit right there. Warner Brothers just going like, "Hey, we got a new Matrix movie coming out. Get some Batman on there."
I was like, man, that's so like. I was like, that's too cool.
Yep.
Had to buy that. And then the really like kind of like the last thing that I wanted to. Well, I got two more things after this,
sure.
But this is one I've been searching for a long time. Again, not original art. Sorry guys, I don't have a lot of original art, but I have a lot of cool shit that I'm proud of. And this is
Aaron's
a Batman.
cool shit. Yeah.
Aaron's cool shit. This is a Batman versus Predator. This is issue 3 of 3. It's the variant cover, but it's the Predator ripping off the hood of the Batmobile.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And going after Batman. It's funny because I was actually like searching for this specific book. I've been looking for this book for a long time, and I went to a booth, and I actually got into like a pissing match at C2E2 with a guy who owned a booth because he did not believe me that was a cover from Batman, versus Predator, the first one, because there's like Batman versus Predator 2. There's like a second and I was like, no, it's number 1. He's like, no, I don't think I've ever seen that. And I actually went through every single one of his boxes, and I found this one. And I'm like, see?
The kryptonite to every comic nerd is conviction. They will believe themselves until you prove them wrong.
Yeah.
So, and their word is law until you prove them wrong. So, especially with the old heads. But anyway, so are you ready to get into the big stuff? This is the big uns.
am.
This is where we're going to end
The biggins.
the big uns. This is the stuff that is huge. So,
Really huge.
up first we've got. So I've got Nick Dragata did a Silver Surfer for me.
Oh yeah.
This is
Your walls must be bare right now.
yeah, everything's off my walls currently as I'm looking around. But Nick Dragata, of course, worked on East of West with Jonathan Hickman. He's done a lot of cool stuff. Ghost Cage over at Image as well.
Ooh, we like that one.
Yeah, so very cool. And you can't really tell, but it has like this sort of like texture paper on it. So that's one of my favorites for sure.
That's one thing I love is Mirka. She does like these what are they called? They're like these Japanese like special types of paper, and I can't remember what they're called. They have like a
they're
special name.
it's really it's like really
Rikishi?
thick. Yes.
Rikishi, I think.
Yeah,
they're fucking gorgeous.
and you can really like dig into the paper. It's like
Yeah.
really tough paper, really thick paper.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Christian Ward and speaking of Doctor Doom, this is my
Yes.
Doctor Doom by Christian Ward. He doesn't do a ton of commissions. I was very fortunate to, know Christian on a personal level as a friend, and he agreed to do this for me. I've been a long-time fan of Christian Ward's. Before we were even friends with him, when I reached out to him to come onto the show, I had been such a huge fan of his Black Bolt run that he did at Marvel that he won his first Eisner for. And then when I think it was Invisible Kingdom had just come out with a hardcover, I was like, I have to get him on the show. So that was the first time I ever talked to him. It was just he and I. And also, of course, as I've said many times, I think at that time he had already started posting about Batman City of Madness, but it was just sort of a very ominous promo.
Yeah.
You've seen that picture, right? Of like the Lovecraftian Batman.
Yeah, the
Batman below, right?
Yeah.
So, and then since then, Christian's been a good friend. Honestly, I talk to Christian almost daily now. So
Yeah.
one of the many perks of this show.
He just actually just was revealed that he did artwork for Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing. So
New
I was
DLC
excited about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So keep your eyes peeled on that, everybody. Just keep that on the back burner. That what Aaron just said there. Moving on here, we've got Dan Hip. So Dan Hip.
Oh yes.
This is
Little
my-
hip action.
This is my
It's all in the hip.
So over here is the original. This was an art drop that he had on Instagram. This is President Loki. Gosh, I couldn't talk. President Loki. This is right before the premiere of season 1 of Loki, and this is the print that he will sell at conventions and whatnot. But this is the original here on the right. So on the left, excuse me. So really cool stuff. That one's about $200. But again, his stuff is so limited that you have to just get there very quickly. Like you have to get there as soon as he drops.
Yeah, I've got a couple of his covers, and those are actually hard to track down.
Yeah, he does a lot of ratios. So if you want a Dan Hip cover, a lot of times you got to kind of invest a little bit of money. Let's see here. This is a cool one. So this is Jappy Inconcilio. He's a street artist.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
So I think he's through Next Comic Art. But anyway, he doesn't done a ton of comic art necessarily, but he's incredibly talented. And when his commission list opened, there were only 3 slots. So the impulse in me was like, I need to get something. So I was like, hey, I love Doctor Doom. I love Silver Surfer. What can you do? And I think this was $400, and it's incredible. It's really big. It's all color.
The colors are beautiful. They're bright. It's like totally on theme, but perfectly unique. Yeah, you that was a great investment right there because that's right up your alley.
I didn't know what size it was going to be. This is one of the very first times that when I went to a creator, I was like, I don't care. Pick whatever you want as long as it's Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom and Kirby inspired. So obviously,
Did it come framed like that?
No. So I get all of my stuff framed through Michaels.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, everything's professionally.
They did a great job with that.
Yeah, everything that you see here throughout this stream. Whoa. Everything you see throughout this stream is professionally framed by Michaels. So, and it has like the UV protection and all that. So here's a big one. C2E2 2020. This is my Scotty Young Miles Morales. Now the fun story about this is that when you get up to the front of if you're near the front of Scotty Young's line. I don't know if this is still true because Scotty Young has obviously skyrocketed over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
If you go to the front of his line, he has 2 dice, and if you roll doubles, he will do a commission for you for $300. So I rolled it. I was kind of on the fence. I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that much, but I was like, it's Scotty Young. I got to try at least, right? And I rolled double 4s, and I was like, you can either do Doctor Doom or Miles Morales. This is around the time where Into the Spider-Verse had just come out, I think in 2019. So he was like, Miles for sure. He's a big Spider-Man fan. So this is what he did, and it's really cool. And I have the full video of him doing this too.
That's awesome.
So
how long did it take him?
sorry, this is 2019, not 2020. 5 minutes. Can you imagine?
Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I would say 5 to 7 minutes. It's so cool. And to get a quick 300 like that, just off of 7 minutes of work,
Yeah.
only Scotty Young, right? So there's one. This is one I'm really proud of. This is
Oh, is this the big one?
no, this is Ryan Stegman. This is one of my very first commissions ever. This is actually through Felix Comic Art. Ryan Stegman, for some reason, has both. He has a deal with both Felix and CSA, but this is around the time where Venom had just come out, and Ryan put out a commission list. I think this was $300. I did 2 payments, and it's obviously Swamp Thing. So what's really cool is that when you buy Ryan Stegman's most recent comic art book, his art book, this is in the back. It's one of the commission examples that he has in the back. So
Nice.
yeah. Let's see here. I've got 2 big ones. I'll do this one here. Actually, I've got 3 big ones. This is Liana Kangas. Again, as we said, good friend of the show. This was C2E2 2020. So this is C2E2 2020. This was my gift for being a patron for 3 years on her Patreon. And obviously, Liana has gotten she's gotten much more busy since then. So this is obviously, I don't even know. I don't think I paid hardly anything. This might have been like $100. And
That's insane.
It's like 11 by 17. It's a huge
Yeah.
commission. This is easily
That's bigger than 11 by 17, bro. That's
yeah. I think it is.
that's got to be like 24 by 18.
Nah, 24 by 18 is like a movie poster. This is, I think
No,
this
that's
is
20. That's 36 by 27.
24 by
I'd say.
36 is a movie poster.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so this is just an incredible rendition of Jack Kirby's famous Silver Surfer Doctor Doom cover. And even
Yeah.
on the bottom here, it says "To the King," and it's signed by Liana. So I'll just get a little quick
Oh, she called you king.
"To the King." I don't think she was talking to me. I think she was talking to Jack.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah,
We can all be hopeful. We can all.
maybe it's both of us.
Yeah.
Liana's a good friend. Really, really.
All right, I'm gonna show real quick
Yeah.
before you move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I actually just recently got these back from CGC. So this is kind of a personal thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've held on to these 2 magazines for 23 years now.
Wow.
And I can actually prove it because so this is the special edition Time magazine that captured when the
The
planes
towers.
hit the Twin Towers. So this came out September 14th, 2001. This is the subscription edition. It actually has our address from when we lived in Las Vegas, so I can prove that this is where we lived and this is our home. And this is my magazine that I've held on to. And then right after 10 days later, they produced the next special edition, which was the September 24th subscription with George W. Bush on the cover. Again, my address and just America Digs Out special edition Time magazine of that the aftermath of the Twin Towers. So those are like 2 like CGC things that I had two things I had to get graded, no matter if they were high grades or not. I still 23 years old, just traveling around. 7.0 is not too bad, 6.0 is not too bad, but 2 things that I'll live on for me and something I own. And also I actually just talked to my mom recently about it because I sent her a picture of it, and she still has the magazine from when Princess Diana of Wales was killed. So she's gonna send me that, and I'm gonna try and get that one graded as well.
Yeah, like you said, I think you told me when you first got that done that was, you didn't care what the grade was. It was more so just to encase it and sort of preserve it going forward.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
I've actually thought about potentially donating them to the 9/11 museum here in New York City, but at the same time, like, I'm sure they have a ton of them.
Yeah. I have 2 big ones left. 2 big ones. Then I have like my folder, which I can go through that really quickly. So one of the ones I'll show really quickly. This one's kind of heavy, but Aaron, if you remember at our C2E2 panel, I one of my creators to look out for was Buster Moody out of Kansas City. And I reached out to Buster in 2018 and I said, I'm a big fan of Daft Punk. Would you be willing to do a commission? I've never seen you do anything like that. And I'm trying to get no glare here. But he's like, absolutely, $200. So again,
Fuck.
this right here
Wow.
is insane for $200, right? And then on top of that, he sent me the print that he's going to sell at his booth. So
That is
insanity.
insane.
Again,
that is insane.
I know I keep going through all this and like, oh yeah, I'm so lucky because I got this for nothing. That's sometimes how it goes, everybody. Sometimes you pay $350 for Trad Moore to scribble, and sometimes you pay $100 or $200 for Buster Moody to create a fucking piece of work.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I've always told people, like, if you ever need to know, like, what the next or who the next person is or what the next thing is with comics, like, talk to Chris, because Chris will point you in the right direction. He, like, somehow you're in the right place at the right time consistently to get, like, these amazing deals and to get, like, again, you say that I have, like, a nat 20 on charm, but man, you have, like, a fucking nat 20 on, luck and knowledge,
A nat 20 on foresight.
Yeah, foresight. Yeah.
It's got my guys. I got my finger on on the pulse of comics. Like I feel like I always appreciate when someone's kind of fresh and new in the medium, and then I think I'm just maybe slightly before it, but like I feel like I'm like the masses is not the comic fandom, if that makes sense. Like comic fans knew about Daniel Warren Johnson way before I did, and then when I finally got on the train, he was still relatively he was like a fan. People liked him, but like he wasn't a household name until Transformers and Do a Powerbomb, right? And now he's like Daniel Warren Johnson, But we've been fans of his for years before all that. Even you have.
Oh yeah, we're friends of him.
Yeah, he knows us. He wasn't tabling at C2E2, but he stopped by the booth, and when he saw me, he was just gonna walk by. He saw me, he's like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he like came over, shook my hand. He like recognized me. So that was really cool. And that's the cool stuff about not only doing the podcast but working at these cons. So, all right. So the last big one I have. This is the most expensive piece that I own. This is my heirloom. This is something that I'll never sell. It's
crown jewel.
Yeah. If I ever own a fireplace at some point, this will be hanging above it. So this is my Alex Maleev Dr. Doom. This is a watercolor. I want to say it's a 9x7. I don't actually know the dimensions, but it's a good size. This was through Kirby Comic Art in 2018. I made installments of, I think I made like 6 installments, and I was paying like $250 each. So do the math. And I just love it so much. It's UV protected. It's sort of, you can't really tell from the video, but it's sort of lifted off of the paper here. So it's like almost floating above, which is really cool. And I just love it so much. It's my favorite thing to show off when people come over. Aaron.
It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
That is an absolute gorgeous piece.
Yeah, and of course, Alex Maleev did the interiors for his and Brian Michael Bendis's infamous Iron Man. Infamous Iron Man. So that, of course, is Dr. Doom. So that it was an easy decision. So in terms of like giant commissions, that's all I have. Aaron, if you don't mind, before we close out this episode 130, I have a couple small ones that I haven't gotten framed yet that I want to show off.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
So here's my portfolio. This is usually what I bring to conventions. I've got a couple small ones here. I've got, speaking of Liana Kangas, this was my, so again, as you can tell, she's gotten busier and time, to do things for her patrons, it's not as plentiful, which I don't blame her at all. But this was my 5-year anniversary gift. It's a Silver Surfer. Oh. So that's an original right there. I have Patrick Reynolds, who did Bloodstained Teeth with Christian Ward and is also currently working on Gunslinger Spawn right now with Jimmy Palmiotti. He gave me this small Silver Surfer.
Oh, wow.
It's like card size.
I might have seen that one.
Yeah. This is my newest investment. I got this at C2E2 just a couple months ago. One of my favorite, again, Aaron, keep him on your radar because I'm telling you, he's going to blow up. Jesse Lonergan, currently working on Man's Best over at Boom Studios. He is an incredible talent, one of the most unique voices in the medium. He's going to hop on a Big 2 book and he's going to blow up. I'm just telling you right now, you heard it here first, June 11th, 2024, Jesse Lonergan. Get on the Lonergan train. I'm also a patron member of his. So there's that. This is my So speaking of free, crazy things to happen, New York Comic Con 2022, 21, I worked for Sweeney Boo for a bit, and good friend. I love Sweeney Boo so much. She's the best.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
She is one of the nicest creators you can meet. And also she's one of the most talented. Like her Harley Quinn is, I think, iconic. And she had mentioned at one point she was going to just do a commission for me. And I was like, you don't have to. Like, that's incredible. Whatever. And it took a while, but she eventually, New York Comic Con 2022, she gave me this Ms. Marvel. So she drew that for me. And again, it was free, which is incredible.
That's adorable. I love that.
Yeah. This is Yale Stewart out of St. Louis. I have a couple pieces from him. He was a constant at the fancy shop when I worked there. So he did a rendition of the classic Nancy Brown Swamp Thing. He does baby characters similar to Scotty Young. So this is that, and then he also did a Batman as well.
I think Scotty Young does. I'd call his less baby, more Calvin and Hobbes-ish.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. I think Scotty Young even has a Calvin and Hobbes tattoo. So
I wouldn't be surprised. He seems that's right up his alley.
Mm-hmm. Here's Bruno Redondo. He is the artist on Nightwing. This is a Batman that I got from Next Comic Art. Incredible.
That's amazing.
I really wanted to get Nightwing, but the Nightwing that I was eyeing sold before I could get to it. So I got this one. Very cool. Very similar to the Nick Dragata Silver Surfer. It's got sort of that texture paper here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
amazing.
Super cool. I'm going to get all these framed at some point. I'm buying too much art before I can actually do it. So
tell that to the poster tubes that have been sitting there full in his other room for years.
That's right. Speaking of a good friend of the show, patron, one of our favorite people in the world, Nerf Alice, gave me this at, was it New York last year, Aaron? I think it was. Last time I saw her was New York. Or maybe it might have been San Diego. San Diego last year is where I think she gave me this. She gave this to me for free. I've been eyeing it for a bit. I told her I was going to buy it, and she was like, no, just take it. So good friend of the show, fellow program, the official Batlin Brit of the podcast, Nerf Alice. So incredible. Keep an eye out for her as well. Speaking of Ryan Stegman, I got this for dirt cheap on Whatnot. Shout out to Ryan Stegman. I got this for like $100. It's a Ben Grimm thing.
So cool.
So that's really cool. Yeah.
I like that one.
Let's see here. This is probably super fun for the audio people. This is actually a new acquire. I got this on eBay the other day from the Hero Incentive. This is Ed. I'm gonna try to figure out an easy way to do this. Ed Brickson. I think he's a European artist. He did this incredible 11x17 zombified Batman and Robin. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm spacing the artist right now, but they follow us on Instagram. I bought some of their original art. I apologize for not knowing it off the top of my head, but they did this incredible Empoleon Marowak. What's the version here? What's this one called? Is the Fire and Ghost type?
Oh, is it Paldean?
I think it is the Paldean. Yeah, I think you're right. So that's really cool. And then they did this original Cubone for me as well.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. You know how much I love Cubone and Marowak. Those are my two favorite Pokemon.
I would never have guessed.
And Empoleon's like a close third.
Considering you have a Piplup hat on.
Exactly. Yeah. Good friend of the show. We just had him on the show last week. Drew Zucker. I have a original Kanto, which is super cool. And the cool thing about this Kanto is when you look on the back, it's actually a double. He started this and he didn't love it. So he just kept it going. He redid it on the back. So it's kind of awesome. Like a double commission almost. And then also I got this from his Whatnot show back in our heyday of Whatnot. This is a original Spawn from him.
Oh, damn.
So that's super cool.
Talk about a man of many talents, huh?
Yeah, he's great. Let's see here. So, of course, we talked to Brian K. Vaughan last week. He's currently working on a book on his Substack called Spectators, and his artist on that is Nico Henderson. So, and this is an original Nico Henderson right here. It's a watercolor.
Cool. I've seen, I think you showed that to me recently.
I have no idea. If anyone watching this or listening knows what this is, I have no idea. And I even asked Brian when I was talking to him, I was like, do you know what this is? And he says, no, I have no idea. So
It's some kind of quadruped robot with almost a human face, white face on a like a dystopian post-apocalyptic landscape, some rocks.
Yeah.
Definitely very cool, very machine, not very steampunk, but very futuristic, like robot.
Yeah. So Brian was like, it's probably just an original creation of Nico's. So, and then my last one is, where is it at? Oh, okay. Actually, my last two. Sorry. My last two is Agnes Garbowski, CSA, CSA fame. She's one of our artists, and she's also currently working on a lot of the My Little Pony stuff. She did this Ron Swanson holding Toby.
Aww.
So, of course, Toby's middle name is Swanson. So I had to get something of, again, I love a good, if I'm going to get three topics, if there's three topics I'm going to get a commission of, it's going to be Toby, Dr. Doom, or Silver Surfer. So I need to get a commission of Silver Surfer holding Toby, traversing the universe. And then my last one, this is my final one, I'm done after this, this isn't technically original, but this is an artist proof of Sweeney Boo's page from Wonder Girl Annual number 1 from 2021. So this is an artist proof. Again, artist proofs are basically, it's for a digital artist. Basically the way it works is if you're a digital artist, you can create a proof, a 1 of 1 of that page. And that is essentially an original. It's not obviously original art, but it's a very high quality reprint of that art. Because again, digital, you can't sell that because it's digital. So this is the way that the digital artists are now doing it, is through a proof. It comes with like a certificate of authenticity on it as well. And it basically it's the exact interiors and inks of that page. So, and again,
pretty amazing.
Shout out to Sweeney because I was going to pay the full price and she's like $100. So, all right, everybody. That's all of my original art. It's a lot, I know. But thank you, David, so much for recommending this episode. As Aaron said earlier, this is very much a topic I love talking about. I'm a big, big collector of original art. It's one of my passions. Anytime I go to a convention, it's something that I love doing. So, yeah. Aaron? Yep.
You should definitely try and post some of the pictures of these things so that people who do listen to this audio only can still kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll post a couple just so people can get a teaser of what they can see if they watch the video. Because again, it will be free over on Patreon. This again will be available to anybody that wants to watch the video version. Now, if you've been listening to the audio for some reason, that's totally fine. But if you go to patreon.com/Oblivion Bar Pod, this will be available for free. And you can do a 7-day free trial if you want to get a behind the scenes look at our Patreon and get kind of an exclusive sort of look at what you can get if you support the show at any tier. You can do a 7-day free trial. So definitely check that out. Aaron, do you have anything you want to say to the folks, the programs, and David before we go?
Appreciate you guys hanging out. It's been fun. Thanks for asking that question, David. And to the other programs, of the Patreon, if you guys want to hear us talk about stuff, feel free to give us ideas, to send it in, to help us, kind of come up with ideas. Because, again, most of the time we just talk about the dumb shit that pops into our head. But we're always willing to kind of go off on a tangent. And who knows, if you ask a question, maybe like you'll be lucky enough, like David, you'll get your own show. Yeah. And then we'll give you nearly an hour and a half of just us talking about that. So instead of just a half an hour, you're getting more bang for your buck for just simply sending us a message.
Exactly. And more times than not, I would say it's almost a guarantee that if you send us a topic, we will talk about it. Because as Aaron and I have said many a times, the grid is mostly us just getting in front of a mic and talking. We don't often have topics. So, Aaron, I think that'll do it. We were going to talk about Frank Miller's American Genius, but we've gone on for far too long. Maybe we'll do that next week. I saw it last night at the Cinemark here in Indy, and it was great. So anyway, that'll do it for the grid. Again, thank you everybody for listening to this episode 130. Next week, again, it'll be back behind the paywall. So if you want to hear more of this grid action, and it's if you liked what you listened to or watched here today, that's cool. Yeah. But it's often a lot more erratic, a lot more vulgar.
It's what I'm calling the nitty gritty.
That's right. We do the gritty sometimes. Right? That's how they do it?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to The Grid. We will see you next week for episode...
That was some kind of dance move I've never seen before.
We'll see you next week for episode 130. 131. 131.
131, you boomer.